Kids paddled repeatedly, placed in isolation for months at a time, and humiliated for being overweight. These are some of the troubling allegations former residents of Hope Children's Home are making tonight. I-Team investigator Adam Walzer spoke with Hope's director and has his explanation for what many are calling abuse.
I was put through being beaten. I was put through horrible humiliation.
I would go to my room and cry, and
it wasn't a fun time in our lives.
8 former Hope Children's Home residents who lived there at different times from 2006 to last year are speaking out.
I've been telling anybody who would listen to me, this is what happened.
And so we just practice those good old standards that have been practiced for years.
Mike Higgins took over as executive director in 2005. Since Higgins became executive director, reports show that sheriff's deputies have been to Hope 116 times, including 14 child abuse investigations. In many of those reports, there's a reference to a practice called swatting.
Probably many times children are given spankings the wrong way, but we practice doing it the right way at Hope.
With paddles?
Yes, sir.
you didn't eat your food all the way, you'd get a swat. Didn't read your Bible, you got a swat.
It was like a piece of wood that was like that big, like a handle on them.
They would pull it all the way back and smack you.
And they would have you face the wall, and then they would sit there and just wail on you.
To where you're holding a paddle like a baseball bat is a little too far.
And that happened?
Yeah, every single one of us.
It hurt an abnormal amount to me. And so afterwards, I went to the bathroom and I checked, and like immediately there were already these huge bruises and welts.
I refute every one of those. We do not spank child and leave bruises on them. We don't beat them with a baseball bat approach. It's done very systematically.
Hope is regulated by the Florida Association of Christian Child Care Agencies, or FACA, which banned corporal punishment in 2014. Mike Higgins serves on FACA's board. He says even though he can no longer paddle kids in the home, he can while they are at school. Hope School is operated under the same nonprofit license as the home and is only open to Hope residents. FACA also banned isolation for longer than 60 minutes in 2012.
That's a different form of isolation where a child will be put in an isolation room without any type of accommodations whatsoever.
Police reports show Hope uses a form of isolation called TLC regularly.
It was called Total Life Change.
One of the rooms that they would put kids in was a linen closet.
You weren't allowed to talk to anybody.
That would be your bedroom for however long they wanted it to be your bedroom, and you were cut off from anyone else.
I mean, I was in that room with just a Bible and a few changes of clothes, and that was it.
I've known kids that's been up on it for 6 months.
You don't see nobody until you get right with God.
These pictures of the TLC room are part of a 2012 abuse investigation. The report quotes multiple children who said they spent extended periods of time in TLC.
42 days, 60 days, 180 days.
Sure.
Is that appropriate?
Well, you're making it, and it sounds like it's a jail cell. These children are still integrated within the program of the children's home.
Except they couldn't talk to each other.
We're trying to separate them to get their attention so that we can focus on them one-on-one and help them through the struggle that they're having.
And if it takes 6 months, it takes 6 months.
It could take a while, yes.
The abuse cases investigated by law enforcement were closed as unfounded. FACA's executive director told me in an email that it doesn't comment on its actions to enforce compliance, and DCF and law enforcement determined whether a complaint is verified, not FACA. This week, Higgins told us they changed their TLC program to have a 30-day limit.
And we have totally been exonerated, and they put their stamp of approval on the program.
The power is with the adults. You are confined in this facility. You are living in this facility.
Psychologist Bob Friedman is an expert in group home abuse. He says programs that frequently punish kids can cause psychological damage.
See kids who end up feeling worthless as a result, and they may cut on themselves, they may become suicidal.
I cut myself in any way I could find. I'd get glass, blades. I needed to hurt myself.
Caroline Farmer and her sister Catherine went to live at Hope after their parents lost their jobs. Higgins says both were overweight when they arrived.
They had put us on diets, very, very strange diet.
Both of those girls lost a lot of weight and looked phenomenal when they left here.
Elaine Healy was also put on a diet.
Like you kind of felt like humiliated because you knew you weren't allowed to have seconds, or you knew you weren't allowed to touch dessert. And if you did, they would yell at you.
She lost over 70 pounds, and she felt phenomenal about herself.
Caroline Farmer says she was caught sneaking food and was humiliated and punished.
I know how I look, but it's a little girl. And how can you look at a 9-year-old girl and say you're ugly? You need to lose weight.
I hate to see them in the situation now they're in, where it looks like they've totally regressed and seem to be emotionally distraught.
The former Hope kids we interviewed said they wanted just one thing, a change in leadership.
I think they have been hurt in life prior to coming to Hope, and I think as a result of that, they're looking for an avenue to put blame on.
I just think about the kids that are there now, and I just don't want them to have to go through what I went through.
Jesus wouldn't be doing this kind of thing. He wouldn't be treating children like this. Wouldn't be tearing down some little child. Wouldn't be beating them.
I'm I-Team investigator Adam Walser, taking action for you.